Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we're here to crown the lightweight undisputed champion. In the red corner, we have Tirzepatide weighing in at a max of 15 milligrams. And in the blue corner, we have Semaglutide weighing in at 2.4 milligrams. This is a battle royale. This is a showdown that everyone's been waiting for. Wait. No, not boxing. This is for weight loss. Though, I guess the joke does still apply. First study we're going to review together is the SURMOUNT 5, published in the New England Journal of Medicine in July of 2025. This is the first head-to-head randomized comparison of these two drugs at maximum doses. Let's see what the data actually shows.
More fair and balanced coverage after a word from our sponsor.
Just kidding, there isn't one. Remember, this channel is called Dispense as Written. Every week, I break down new trials, teach evidence-based medicine, and respond to your inquiries, all without substitutions for profit. All right, let's get back to the data. So what's the clinical question here? We're looking at adults with obesity. That's a BMI of 30 or greater, or for adults who are overweight with a BMI of 27 or greater, plus at least one weight-related comorbidity. Importantly, this trial excluded patients with diabetes.
About diabetes.
This is purely about weight management. Or was it? That's clip note for later. The intervention, as I mentioned before, it's Tirzepatide up to a max dose of 15 milligrams a week. Tirzepatide is a dual GIP-GLP-1 receptor agonist. You know it as Zepbound for weight loss or Mounjaro for diabetes. The comparison here is Semaglutide, which is increased to 2.4 milligrams weekly. That's a GLP-1 receptor agonist, known as Wegovy for weight loss or Ozempic for diabetes. The primary outcome was a % change in body weight from baseline at 72 weeks. That's a year and a half worth of treatment. Secondary outcomes looked at proportions of patients achieving different weight loss categories at the end of that time. Now, a quick background on the mechanism difference here. Semaglutide is a GLP-1 receptor agonist. It mimics just one incretin hormone that helps regulate blood sugar and appetite. Tirzepatide is a dual agonist. It hits both the GLP-1 receptor and GIP receptor. It adds additional effects on insulin secretion and potentially fat metabolism. The theory, hitting two receptors is better for weight loss than just hitting one. Let's see if that theory holds up. Now for the methods. This was a phase 3 double-blind active control randomized trial.
Music to my ears.
It included patients just in the United States. Yes, all US-based patients, which is actually pretty remarkable.
Uncle Sam?
They also excluded anyone with a history of pancreatitis, thyroid cancers, or multiple endocrine neoplasia type 2. Standard safety exclusions for this drug class. Both groups received lifestyle intervention, a 500-calorie deficit, plus physical activity counseling. Let's get into some results. Baseline characteristics were well balanced. Mean body weight was around 105 kilograms or 230 pounds. Mean BMI was about 38. And there's an important part. Adherence was excellent in both groups, around 95%. So we're really looking at real treatment effects, no dropout bias. All right, let's keep looking at some more results. At 72 weeks, Tirzepatide produced a mean weight loss of 20.2%. Semaglutide produced a mean weight loss of 13.7%. That's a 6.5 percentage point difference comparing the two. Let's make that concrete. For a 300-pound patient, Tirzepatide produced an extra 20-pound weight loss compared to Semaglutide. Now let's talk about responder rates. The trial measured different outcomes at 10, 15, 20, and 25% categories. So let's look at these different thresholds. At 10%, results were pretty equivalent, 81% in Tirzepatide versus 61% in Semaglutide. But when you get to the 25% threshold, 31% of folks in the Tirzepatide group got to that threshold compared to only 16% in Semaglutide. That means that nearly 1 in 3 patients on Tirzepatide achieved a 25% weight loss.
Good news, everyone.
One last important result to help us put this into context. About 57% of patients that were included in the trial had prediabetes. Remember, that's an A1C of 5.7 to 6.4. Those folks are at a 3 times greater risk of developing diabetes in the future. And so we have to think about its effects on glucose in addition to the weight loss because such a large percentage of patients were already in the prediabetes group. So what about safety? We can actually keep this section pretty brief. About 77% of patients in both groups had at least one adverse event, mostly due to GI effects. And serious adverse effects were low in both groups, around 4 to 5%, with no unexpected safety signals. And now it's time for the Castelli coefficient. This week's number, 7.5 out of 10. The verdict here is that Tirzepatide wins in this head-to-head trial. Why not higher here? 3 reasons. First, the trial doesn't address cost effectiveness or long-term maintenance beyond the 72 weeks, even though a year and a half is quite good. Secondly, some of the patients they excluded, particularly with diabetes, limit the wide-scale applicability that we can do here. And third, the insurance may dictate this decision for you as the prescriber. Really, your choice might be limited here. But here's the bottom line. Tirzepatide is now the weight loss medication to beat in terms of percent body weight loss. It provides superior efficacy at maximum doses. Semaglutide is no slouch. It remains an excellent option for a lot of patients, and it's still going to be one that many insurances cover. However, choice will be based on individual goals, tolerance, and most importantly, access. This is not hype. This is not marketing. It's evidence. That's the Castelli coefficient. And there you have it. Ding, ding, ding. The final bell has rung. That's evidence delivered. No fluff. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments below. Subscribe here for more trials, and you'll get exactly what I'm promising. No substitutions for convenience or profit. See you for the next one.